Hey guys, my name is Ryan here with the iHeart Worship team. I'm the pads coach. Just want to kind of go through a few things with you. I know you've come through auditions. Now kind of looking at, what's the next steps? How do I move forward, both with the gift that God's given you and just as part of this team? Here at first, kind of what I want to open up is through the next few series of videos, you're gonna hear us say some certain terms, and I want those to make sense. So this one's going to be kind of just some quick terminology on a few things. One, just kind of what are some of the terms that we use as an iHeart Worship team that kind of shows the heart of our team. Just some basic music terms, some basic playing terms, and then just kind of do a real quick overview of what the synth here is, some of the different knobs that we use a lot. So first, as an iHeart Worship team, there's a few things that we do not use. We do not stand on a stage, and we do not play as a band. We are not here to uplift one person or to stand on a podium. We are to stand on the altar. We lay ourselves down, go on the altar, and you give your gifts to God. He's given them to you as a place to give them back on that altar. And again, we are a team. There's no one person on this team any more important than the other. Weeks that we're off, just like a basketball team, you're sitting on that bench cheering on those that are on the altar that week. We cheer other people's successes. We're there to help lift everybody up. So we are a team, not a band, and we stand on the altar, not a stage. Some quick music terms, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. To make sure, obviously a note, anytime you hear somebody say, just play a certain note, it's just going to be one single key. So maybe if we're in C, it's just a single C note. Obviously a chord is a series of notes put together. I can play the C chord, the full triad there. We'll talk in other videos more about, making those chords, having those memorized, or the formulas behind them. And then, what key are we playing in? Maybe we're playing in the key of C, and all that is telling you is defining the scale that we're going to be playing in. Some other things, in that scale, how do we develop a scale? A quick way to kind of remember that is when you're walking through the keyboard, you have two different types of steps. You either do a half step, which is going, for example, from the C, a half step up goes into the black key of a D flat. A whole step would be going up two keys. So when you're developing a scale, it is a whole step. So I'm going to go up two keys, a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So that develops your scale. And no matter what key, say we want to play in A, we're going to start on our A, whole step, half step, just went one, whole step, whole step, half. So just kind of remember that, whole, half, whole, half. And there you develop your scale. You may hear us talk about, play the root. If you're in the root of a chord, we say play just the root of a C chord. That's just going to be your C. When we're talking about our scales, the root is whatever that first key is in that scale. So if we're playing in the key of A, the A is your root for that scale. So, similar terms, but used in reference to two different things: the scale versus the chord. And lastly, and we'll talk about this some in our video on how to develop chords, is a flat versus a sharp. I know you probably know this. This is probably super simple, but basically all a flat is a half step down. A sharp's a half step up from wherever you're at. So if you're in D, to make a D flat, you go half a step down. A D sharp, you go half a step up. So all it is just the movement up or down, half a step. So whenever we're playing, sometimes you'll hear us say, play the octave. Well, what is the octave? Going back to when we talked about those scales, our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're back to our C, or our root of that scale again. When you play those two C's together, you are playing the octave. You'll do that a lot on pads. We'll do that a lot with our left hand at times, mostly just playing the root of whatever chord in the progression we're playing. You'll play those octaves. Sometimes you hear us just play the fifth. So when you're developing a chord, in that scale, in that chord, you have your full triad of a chord. So if I'm in C, my C, E, G. If I want to play the fifth, I get rid of that third note there. Just play the 1 and 5 of it. I'm playing the fifth. If we say for a certain one, play the third, same principle. You just get rid of the fifth, play the third. So those are just a few terms you'll hear us throw out. And then lastly, obviously you have your keyboard. You have two wheels over here. We have a mod wheel. It's the one that is not spring-loaded. changes the sounds some, so we'll talk about those some in some other videos. You have a pitch blend wheel. It's kind of spring-loaded here, always returns itself. A few of the sounds we use, that can kind of be used as a switch to turn some things on and off. And then we do have 2 other just modifier buttons that will change your sound some. Outside of that, that's some terminologies we'll use on pads. So catch you in other videos, guys. Thanks.